don't give her a pain. A heart has a piccolo and a king. Highfalutin, fat shooting, piccolo Houston, highbrow. Highfalutin, fat shooting, piccolo Houston, highbrow. Played a little old down, and her laid a little old down, and her head went round and round. Ooh, she thought I was okay, but he stepped off that train with a heart and a piccolo and a king.
TV/The Fallout Hub on Tuesday. It is 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific right now. And I am back with my buddies, including a Dave Chaffins, who looks startled. Dave, are you okay?
Dave's having a stroke.
The more I do it, the more I hurt.
Well, then don't do it. Just like your parents told you when you were a child. If you make the face and it hurts, then don't make that face, Dave.
I feel like Nicolas Cage in Vampire's Kiss.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Also with me as usual is Ken. Ken, how's it going? Ken's got a crazy face too. What is going on today? Okay, so the pre-show, we were all singing songs together randomly. Every phrase was a song, or it was crap, we're messing up the stream. My audio doesn't work, and then we finally got everything working, and now everyone's making crazy faces. I am your host, also Robots or Tom. Either way works fine. This is the Fallout Hub, and you are tuning in for a very special episode because we have Bearcycle Bryan from the Omega broadcast. What's up, Bearcycle Bryan? How's it going?
Up? I'm going good. Just enjoying this awesome weather we have in Mississippi today.
Nice,
Yeah. Also,
nice.
before during the pre-show, Bearcycle Bryan was showing off his banjo behind him. He was playing us some tunes. We were all singing along. That's not true, but he did show off the banjo behind him. So welcome to the show. We are super excited to have you. For those of our listeners who don't know who you are, you do a show on the network, which is a Fallout show, which is how do you like to describe this?
I'd say like a radio drama podcast.
Right, a radio drama podcast, the Omega Project, the Omega Project, not the Omega Project. That's not how it works.
Okay, so it's the Omega broadcast.
Broadcast.
Yeah.
My brain is just all over the place. Omega Broadcast. What project? Is there something with a project in it? Never mind. So welcome to the show. So just like all of our guests, we kick this off with the Robots Dozen questions. And this is a quick fire dozen questions in order to kind of set the stage, get the juices flowing, kind of get everything going before we talk into more of the interview details. Are you ready?
I reckon so.
Okay, here we go. Number one, this starts out easy and gets harder as it goes, okay?
All right.
So number one, where is the Fountain of Youth?
Ooh.
Easy question.
In my backyard.
In your backyard.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wow.
We should report this.
Yep, come on over.
Come on over. You are actually
You'll
300
never
years
leave
old.
alive.
You're sucking out the life of everyone who visits your backyard and keeping yourself alive, and you are actually 300 years
He's
old.
gonna make Dave drink
Awesome.
from the bird fountain, and he's gonna die like the Nazi guy did in Indiana Jones.
Oh no.
And then he's gonna say, "You have chosen poorly."
That's exactly right. I
Yeah.
have a few chalices for you to choose from as well.
Oh no.
Choose, but
This
choose
got-
wisely.
It's got really dark. Okay. Question number two. This is an oldie but a goodie. I'm pulling it back from a previous interview. What is your signature dance move?
My signature dance move would probably be the lawnmower, like the
Nice.
that's always the go-to, right? Like
Classic.
Or the shopping cart's a good one too. So
Yeah, they're very similar. You're in both cases. You're pushing something.
mhm.
Pushing
Okay,
the boundaries
question.
of dance.
Pushing those boundaries. Question number three. Your ghoul teenager wants to date a super mutant. How do you react?
Go for it. Yeah,
Ew,
Go for it.
go for it. Hey, you know what?
the cool teenager.
Yeah, let's.
I mean, technically, they have no private parts, so it's all about the real love.
exactly. Just the connection, the love.
Just the love. I promise. Grunt is a really nice guy, Dad.
He's bigger than me too, so I mean, like it's like what you know what?
Can you
Yeah.
say no?
Go for it, man. Just go for it.
Question number four. Every person is born with the ability to choose where to grow a third arm. Where do you grow it?
Ooh, from my side, my hip. There you go.
From your hip, like down here?
Yeah,
Like, well, your right hip or your left hip?
my right hip. Because guitar playing like that. Oh, let's do the left hip because
Left
I
hip?
have extra fingers on the neck. Like
Oh,
there you go.
yeah. You could do some like Eddie Van Halen stuff while also picking, like
Yes. I could strum and-
at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah. You could do like rhythm and lead all simultaneously. That would be nuts. Also, that'd be like a good, like quick draw gun arm
Yeah. Yeah.
for if you're in the Old West. hmm All right. Question number five. Who put the bop in the bop shoe bop shoe bop?
John Travolta.
Okay. Number six. You're tasked with renaming the United States 1,000 years after the Great War. What do you name it?
Oh crap, that's a good one. Freaking heck.
That's the weird name.
Great name.
Yeah, go with that one. Go
Freaking
with that. Freaking heck. Yeah.
Heck.
Freaking heck. Welcome to freaking heck.
Yeah.
Number 7. What's the best melee weapon in Fallout and why?
Ooh, I'm not a melee build, so that's a tough question. I like Grognak's axe though because I like the whole comic feel, and then having like a nostalgic like memento thing.
Big old
Yeah.
battle axe.
And
in
an emote
Fallout.
with it.
Yeah, you
it's,
get
like,
your
really
old
cool, so-
emote and everything.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Grognak's.
Yeah. Number 8. What's your favorite cryptid?
My favorite cryptid is probably I like Mothman. Let's if that makes I like Mothman because I like the whole Point Pleasant area and everything. So yeah, Mothman.
Yeah, he's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Number 9. We're getting close to the end here. Pie or cake?
I like pie. I like crust. You know the crust in pie. So
Mm.
I'm a pie guy.
I'm more of a cake guy. What do you guys think?
Pie all day.
A really well baked cake. I don't think you can go wrong with. You know.
There's a good thing
Yeah.
with like a moisture in the cake, but still, a
Yeah.
pie. I like the
Yeah,
crust.
pie.
in pie,
I can't do the warm fruit. It's just not appealing to me. But anyway, number 10.
Pecan pie.
I don't like
I knew
pecans.
that was coming, so I was gonna say it.
No, not pecans.
Maple bourbon
Ugh.
pecan pie is to die for.
Oh God,
Mm.
barf. All right, number 10. You must live your life as one of the characters in Back to the Future. Who do you pick?
Let's go with. You know what? I'm just gonna go with the popular opinion, Marty McFly.
You'd be Marty.
Yeah, yeah,
Marty gets into a lot of trouble. He has to duke it out with Biff all the time.
yeah.
It's
I get
pretty-
in trouble
it's
a
pretty
lot
tough.
too.
All right, all
Really?
right.
Nobody wants to be Doc? You just look,
Doc's pretty cool
step
too.
outside in 2020 and be like, what the fuck?
Great Scott.
I thought
Yeah.
about saying Doc, but I don't know, man. I like Marty. Marty's a go-to. So
All right, number 11. Wake up early or stay up late?
I'm a late owl. Yeah, I'm a night owl, so I stay up late all the time.
Awesome. And number 12, final question. What number am I thinking of right now?
3.
Trick question. Orange. And we have your results. Your results for your goat. This is secretly, not a secret, a goat test. And it says here, let me put everything into this system. It looks here that you, unofficial,
not a-
official, secretly not secret. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the show, by the way. I have to go back and do that. It says here that you are going to be a plastic surgeon. Congratulations.
Hey, wow.
Hey.
Wow.
I can do
Wow.
Yeah, you can do that already. Yeah.
that.
Some forks and some plates and whatever else.
And
has
that
plastic
third
in it.
arm.
Yeah, gotta add that third arm in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to mess around with plastic stuff. So
Plastic things like forks
yeah,
and
yeah.
glasses, whatever else you get plastic from. Red solo cups.
I felt like getting literal there. So
So welcome again to the Fallout Hub, the unofficial official podcast of the Fallout TV show and Fallout 76 and everything else Fallout. And we have
Oh yeah, that's a TV show.
yeah, remember I'm grabbing this years before the show actually comes out, so that when people are going back and listening to shows, they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I found a Fallout podcast about the TV show years ahead of time." Yeah, we're squatting in that space, my friend.
You're so
already
amazing.
there.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So Bear Cycle Bryan, we're gonna interview you. We're gonna ask you some questions about I want to learn more about creating your show and those kinds of things. But first, I would love to hear about your getting into Fallout. Like, when did you start playing Fallout? What was your entry into the series? How did that start?
So I had a PlayStation 3, and then Fallout 3 came out, and I was like, this game is freaking awesome. And it just, that's the one that captured. I think that one captured a lot of people that didn't, because I never had strong enough PCs to run games growing up. So
Mhm.
Fallout 1 and 2, I never really had the chance to play. But Fallout 3 definitely got me into the magic of this universe. So
Yeah. Did you pick it up on release? Was it something like a friend had recommended, or
how long ago was that when it came
that
out?
was like 13 years ago or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we determined that it was like 13 years ago.
Yeah, I can't remember. It wasn't on release. I just remember I think going into I played Oblivion and stuff like that when it came out with the 360. So I loved that, and so I knew Bethesda was making this. I was like, oh, let's check it out. And role play games are always my favorite go-to games. So yeah, Fallout 3. When I don't think it was released, I think I ended up going like GameStop or Walmart or something like that and picking it up and taking it home. And I don't know, the whole picking your special and thing as a kid, that whole scenario when your dad's talking to you in the crib, like that was just it hooked me from that moment on. And then when you walk out and Megaton's over there and like just the whole, it was just amazing. So
Who doesn't
Yeah,
want
do you
Liam
remember?
Neeson as a dad?
that's right. Liam Neeson was the dad. That's so cool. Like
The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end.
I had to find him. He didn't have to find me.
It is kind of reverse, huh?
Yeah.
He keeps losing his kids. You think he'd like figure out how to not lose them again? Do you remember much from that first playthrough? Like you're talking about doing your special. Do you remember? Like, did you go in a
Yeah.
certain direction? How did that go?
Okay, so I didn't understand a lot about it, like special and like builds, and like I even think builds were important then, but they weren't important at the same time. But
Not the same way that they work in something like Fallout 76. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
and I remember, I think I started the game over like 3 or 4 times because I don't know. I just remember going out and like, oh, I made that decision because
Mhm.
decisions are like vital, and so I went back in and started over and did all that over again. I do remember it took me a few starts to get really going, and then once I got going, but at the same time in video games, like in a game like this, decisions had me on the edge of my seat. It's like, what am I going to do? Do I want to blow up Megaton, or do I want a suite like in 10 Penny Tower, or do I want to have the house in Megaton and like put the, all that hell? And it's like, what do I do? I remember those moments. So
Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense from a personality standpoint because you are you're a writer, obviously, and you write a podcast, which is a audio drama. So focusing on characters and story decisions and things like that, it seems like something that resonated with you at a very young age. Would you say that that's the case? That maybe this was formative in some ways into things that you would do in the future?
yeah, I could see that because late high school when it came out, and so creative writing and history are my 2 favorite subjects in school, and so I could see that. Yeah.
You got a thumbs up.
Right on.
Yeah, we're all fans of things like history and geography and how things play out in different locations. I find the story of those things very interesting, and all of us do.
Yes.
Yeah. So was being in the wasteland in a post-apocalyptic America in the nation's capital, did that resonate with some of the things you were learning in high school at the time? I would imagine you'd been taking American history within the last few years, those kinds of things.
Yeah, like so being able to see like the historical like buildings, like the Washington Monument, like that whole mall area, and then like the Capitol building and everything, like being able to see that, and being a history I'm not like the greatest at history, but I love history. So like seeing, I don't know, it's kind of like a prideful thing in it as well. Like, oh, I've been there. I was there when I went there when a kid. Like, oh, I saw this stuff, but it's in a game,
Yeah.
And,
I was going to ask that because you live a significant distance from DC.
Yes.
Do you mind sharing where you live? Because I think that might resonate with some of our listeners.
Yeah, so I live in Northeast Mississippi. I live about 45 minutes from where Elvis Presley was born, so
Nice.
Nice. That's a good distinction. I live about, I don't know what hours, several hours away from where Elvis Presley was born. So it's not as good description for where I live. But yeah, so you're living in the American South. I think that's probably in some way, like Dave's in West Virginia, right? Like that's technically the South, but it's kind of the northernmost part. Appalachian, is it even south?
It's very decidedly north, Tom. Come on.
It's north.
That's the whole
It's north.
reason
But
for
the
West Virginia.
accents are very south. Culturally, you've got kind of this rural thing going on, right?
Midwest.
Right.
I'm more south. I'm kind of a bad example because I'm from Virginia, which is radically different from West Virginia. But
much.
there's a lot of Midwestern.
Jeez.
You guys got flying
And-
cars and gingerbread houses over there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Right.
amazing.
Is it
It's
more
completely
Midwestern?
different.
Yeah,
don't know.
you'd be surprised. You'd really be surprised at the amount of and I mean, you go to backwards of I don't mean to get off on a tangent, but you get on the
No,
backwards
this is
of
fine.
Indiana and Illinois and Ohio, and I mean, you're gonna get some draw to it, but it's a little bit different. And coming up when I first moved up here, they were like, "Where the hell are you from?"
Great.
Southern West Virginia. And they were, it's weird. And then you go up to like Morgantown, Wheeling, and that's more of the Pittsburgh. And there's a lot of like yins. That's what they say instead of y'all. Yin.
Yeah, yins. Yeah. Okay, so it's interesting. We're all from different places. Down in Florida, if you live in a city area, it's very metropolitan. It's very diverse. But you drive an hour in any direction, and all of a sudden you're in the deep south. It's just like one or the other. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. And you grew up in that area, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised here. Yeah, it's the Mississippi is very much rural throughout the whole area. Like our largest city, I guess, would be Jackson, and Jackson's more metropolitan. So then there's some parts in there that are different, but then you go to the coast, it's a bit different too, because that coasty life is a lot different. But yeah, I'm right up on the Tennessee-Alabama state line. So good old boys up here,
Yeah,
so.
good old boys, Yeah, it's interesting because we haven't really had a fallout in the South, not an official fallout, right? We've had like northeastern locations, we've had western locations, but nothing really in the South. So it's kind of neat to look at different people's experiences. So many of the people I've talked with on my shows have lived in locations where there have been fallouts, and I think that's really cool to be like, oh, this is in my backyard. But then there's also the experience of like, I visited that place, but I didn't grow up there. So it still feels it's still part of America, but it feels distant, and I feel like
I can see that. Like we, my wife and I talk about, like, we love to travel a lot, and of course she's not as into it as I am, but like my two places I want to go are the Greenbrier and I want to go to the Mothman Museum. So it's like, she's like, oh, okay, as long as we get to travel.
That's fine.
She's not into that stuff. What?
Yeah, she likes it because I like it. She's a supporter of me, so that's a good thing. And she's actually a voice of one of the characters in the show. So I mean,
that's
she
awesome.
must love me enough to do that.
If you want to take a trip and you need like something to like entice your wife up here, I help friends all the time that are traveling.
Nice.
So if she's like into, I want to go to like these, frou-frou like rustic shops, yeah, we got that in spades. We can like roll out all the wonderful hippy dippy stuff. Or
if you're looking for dolphin art, come down my way.
It's so funny.
Tom can show you the best airbrush t-shirts this time.
Airbrush t-shirts with dolphins, we got them.
If you want a caricature that doesn't look anything like you and that you're going to put in a drawer and completely forget about, he's got that too.
Yeah, we got those.
There's a lot of that in Florida.
That's funny.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah. So let's journey down your path a little bit. So you played Fallout 3. Did you pick up New Vegas? Was that the next one on your?
So yeah, New Vegas. I saw the trailer on YouTube, and I heard I just everything. You saw the Ranger armor and everything from like the sniper.
Yeah.
The Vegas Strip. And I was like, all right, let's go get this game. So I got it, and I loved it like straight out of the gate. I liked the different dynamic of not coming out of a vault. That even though I like the concept of emerging and seeing like the world different from what you knew or what you never knew, but I like that whole concept of not coming out of a vault, and then how you can see the Vegas Strip from where you're at, but you're not getting there. You gotta go all the way around.
Yeah, New Vegas is one of my favorites because it's such a juxtaposition from DC, where you have a metropolitan area where you could just kind of walk 5 feet and you're in some place or a building. You have to really go to the outsides to find some real landscape. New Vegas was so different because the landscape is so forlorn and lonely and empty. And you've got Johnny Guitar playing in one ear and the sunsets. And it felt like such a real wasteland where you have to hunt for a building or a town. Like it's not just all right there condensed for you.
Yeah, it was cool because I mean, in a sense, it can be a guided story if you follow south and then go the strip on the other side. But you can. That's what I love about Bethesda. How even though things are guided, you make your own choices. Of course, that wasn't Bethesda, but still is the same kind of concept. And then I remember though, like, okay, there's the Vegas Strip. I'm just gonna head up there. And then Death Claws came out of nowhere and killed me. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, let's try it again. So I snuck and did.
Uh-huh.
I was like, all right, let's just go the other way. But I like stumbling upon the Bonnie and Clyde type car. The robot tells the story
Vicky
in
and
that
Vance.
museum. And it was so. Just walking in there, reprogramming the robot, like everything you could do there. And then you're meeting the NCR, and just you're getting more lore like thrown into your face that you don't realize. And then it's just like, all right, I'm getting attached to the NCR here because I'm encountering them. And then okay, I'm encountering Caesar's Legion, and then all these people. Like, who do I choose? Like I said, choices is like what am I going to do?
So who did you choose?
Who did I choose?
Yeah. Which way did you go? NCR.
Yeah, I just like that. I like that Ranger outfit. You know,
It was a fashion choice.
It was. That duster was just like, oh yeah, this is awesome. But,
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a great design.
Yeah, the Great Khans were cool too. I like that whole Raider, their Raider style and stuff, and then the Powder Gangers and stuff. Those were.
Yeah,
I remember when the mods came out to build settlements, because that's like always like my huge thing. But like Real Time Settler came out, and I remember I killed all the Powder Gangers in that penitentiary, and I built like a settlement in that penitentiary there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, that's a classic location because it's one of the first places you really run into on the way south from the beginning of the game. Cool. Okay, so that came out, and then a number of years later, Fallout 4. I'm assuming you picked that up. You probably played that a bunch.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that. Yeah.
So you were into building. Was that like a main focus for you in 4?
Yeah. So when those mods came out, like the Real Time Settler and the I forgot what the other mod was called, but it came with quests and unlocking things. And then when Todd Howard did the whole reveal of Fallout 4, and he said we can build settlements, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. And I bought it, and it's like, go find your missing son. I was like, I'll do that in like 2 years. Let me build up all this.
He'll be fine.
Settlements.
He can wait.
But I did. It took me forever to finish the main story because all I focused on was settlement building. You know, so.
Nice. So, what do you have, like some proud accomplishments that you?
Yeah, so that's what got me into YouTube, like doing my YouTube channel, The Bear Cycle Show, and I started doing Fallout 4 settlement tours when I would build settlements and stuff. So I've got like 4 or 5 on there.
What's one of your favorites for our listeners?
The Starlight Drive-In. I made it like the central hub for the Minutemen, and I built like this huge arena, like battle arena on top of that little pond that's in there, and I put like the Raider capture cages in there and all this stuff, and so you could go up. It looks really cool. So,
nice. That is the video still up? Should people go look that up? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll share links and stuff to your stuff after when the show comes out. Go look that up. That sounds awesome. So moving into Fallout 76, now you have all sorts of building, lots of building with all sorts of different people. What do you think in general about 76 and also the building and that kind of stuff?
Okay, so when I saw the release, the keynote kind of thing for 76, and there's not going to be any NPCs and stuff. All right, let's see how it goes. But I'm a Fallout fan, so I was like, we're gonna try it out. And I played it. The classic line that everybody says, I've played since beta, you know. But I did play it beta, and that was my whole thing, was just building. You know, I wanted to find different places to build, and then everything was kind of actual towns and things, which was kind of frustrating at first. But then people figured out ways to get closer and build into already built stuff. But even from that, I was like, okay, we're coming out of the first time in 25 years. And like we're some of the first people emerging. I was like, of course, like I want to build settlement. And so it's like, and that's kind of what led to the idea of the podcast. It's like, okay, let's build this place we're rebuilding in Appalachia, you know? So
yeah, and to Bryan's credit, he has a skill that I do not possess. His camps are, the ones that he builds are a marvelous example of being able to build functional settlements that look like they were assembled from just garbage, but like they look. They no,
it
but
sounds like a backhanded compliment, but it's
no,
not.
it's not really. There's an art form to it because there's
right,
like
right.
to just pile a bunch of random stuff together with different building materials that don't match and have it look like visually appealing and elegant, like it belongs in the Fallout world, like it was like a junk town kind of settlement. He can do that. I've tried building like that. I can't do it. I'm too much of a perfectionist.
That's
like I
originally
overthink
how
it.
I found. Yeah, that's originally how I found you, Brian, because I guess I was like one of the first people doing just like pure 76 content coming out of I think E3, and then like the YouTube like crowd and the whole content creation, this like Fallout family really didn't fully come together. There's a lot of still, I guess, old guardy people still around, but this whole community and stuff was just getting started. And I remember finding a video of yours that it was like an inn.
That's my very first one. Yeah.
And I remember watching that. I was like, holy shit, look at this guy. He's like got this, and each room was like themed with a different thing, and it felt like a bed and breakfast that you would find in the Fallout games.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was like. Okay, whenever I found out there was limits, like you couldn't. Like I was thinking of like building in downtown, like in Watoga, and like being able to use the building and stuff, which you can't do. But when I found out there was limits, I was like, okay, let's find pre-built structures. And that's always my concept. Like there are some amazing builds in the 76 community. Like people build UFOs, people build like all like pirate ships. I've seen tons of pirate ships. But there's like a very small niche of people who build stuff that looks like Bethesda put it in the game, like you stumbled across it. And
I love that stuff.
That's always my concept. And so like I was thinking of that, but that was before the stash box. That was before the Fallout First and stuff. It's like, okay, let's have a place for these people that are wandering through that don't want to fast travel to the camp, and it's like a rest like place. I built the
little rest stop.
Yeah,
right. And you kind of had to place them where people would I guess find them. I remember just from even before, like vending machines changed everything because then it made it worker for people to fast travel to your camp. And before it was just like, I'm going to place it on this road, and maybe sometimes somebody will stop by, and it was always exciting when somebody did.
Right. That I liked. So when he said that, when Todd said like every character will be a real person, right? Of course I'm a Bethesda fanboy, I guess people call me, but in my head I was thinking, it's like they want us to rebuild, and so I was always thinking in the future, maybe they never did plan for NPCs to come, but I was thinking maybe in the future something like this will happen. But I like the concept. Like I came across a guy who set up on the side of the road, and all he did like for 3 hours of gameplay was he sat there, and he would like when he'd walk by in voice chat, he'd be like, I've got stuff for sale, you know.
I'm selling little turtles.
Yeah,
so little turtles for sale.
But it felt real. Like I met people that played as NPCs, like that would pretend to be quest givers and stuff. Yeah, it was awesome.
Bold peanuts. You want some bold peanuts? Yeah.
We got peaches.
We got bold peanuts. Got some peaches and bold peanuts and baby turtles.
McDonald's peaches stand here. We got the best peaches south of the Mississippi.
Man, I've met that guy. I've driven past him a number of times. He lives down here in Florida.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. So it sounds like the building thing was like a big cornerstone. It also sounds like some of the emerging stories from your playing of 76 have influenced your creative writing, your podcast, all of that stuff. How does all of that stuff connect?
Okay, so when Fallout 76 was released, show off your stuff to your friends, right? You got to show off your creations. To where the only ability I had to show off any kind of role play or any kind of concept before was build my settlements and upload them on YouTube, and people could see my Fallout 4 settlements. But with the podcasts, you know, I'd listened to Ken's podcast, you know, the Chad podcast, and it was inspiring because I would always Google, like I'd be driving to get groceries, and like the best grocery store here is like 35 minutes away, so 35-minute drive. So I'd put on podcasts, and so I would Google Fallout podcasts and think maybe there's like some sort of story or something, right? And I came across the Lorecast, and I came across a bunch of podcasts, and it's like, okay, so you're listening to these, and it was great because you're getting the. And then I came across Shoddycast, the whole storytellers.
Yep.
Awesome, you know, and so
Yep.
try not to have accidents driving because I'm watching that at the same time driving down the road. But
Don't
no,
go to
like
Mississippi, people, don't do it.
yeah.
This is
But
fine.
the whole concept of, okay, this is my character. I've beat the main story. I've beat the story that, you know, was written for me to beat. And it's like, what else is there to do now but tell my own story? So I've got all these man hours built in this character, and the things I've done, the settlement I built and stuff. It's like, what fun is it just to do it by myself? Like, let's share the story that I have in my head, the backstory. So I started writing a backstory, and I wrote kind of a little thing, and I sent it to Ken. He's like, maybe do it as a podcast. I was like,
Yeah, why not?
I was like, I'll try it out. And I did. And then it kind of started out very narrative, like focus, like Ken's did, like one view at the beginning. And then I realized by nudging from Ken was like, you're going to need more people. And so I was like, okay. So I started writing. But the more I started writing more people in, the more in depth and like captivating the stories got. So that was too. So
Yeah, I'm sure it starts to branch out into like a tree, you know, all these other things. Okay, this character is related to this thing and this character, and these things connect here, and then they come back and combine over here. Yeah.
It becomes really more complicated. The bigger the cast and more complex your story is as it goes along. Like I did a mini-sode this past weekend, and I recorded it and edited it together in like 3.5 hours, whereas any of our normal full-length productions take like a long time to put together.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And like the cast, like I've the community is so awesome. Like a few of the cast members that are in the Chad podcast do voices for some of my characters as well. And then I've, you know, gotten other characters, other people from all around. But everybody's, if you communicate well, like, and that's like one of the things you say up front from this, like people are pretty on board. So, okay, you know, every Sunday I kind of want my in by at least Monday. Like you get your script on Sunday night, and so I can start editing. But I understand that whole editing. Like you said, the longer the scripts get, the more in depth they go. And like I remember I sat down. It was like 8:00 at night for the last episode that came out, and my wife's like, "You gonna come watch a movie?" I was like, "No, I'm gonna edit this." She's like, "Okay." Well, I was like, "It shouldn't be much longer. I'll hang out with you." And then like
next thing you know, it's like 2 a.m.
It was 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
And I got up and I walked out, and I'm
Hello?
where's everybody? You know, and I walked in the bedroom, and her and my son are like, you know, just go, oh crap.
Yeah.
But that's something like, that's when you know you love what you do. Like when you can get so caught up in it and the time just goes by, right?
Yeah, that's flow.
So,
that's the whole state of flow.
in.
Just like you're just doing the thing, and the next thing you look up and hours have gone by. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. But it is like the I think I remember asking Ken at the beginning, I was like, how often do you release? And he's like, well, because our episodes are so long, apart from minisodes, we release like, I was like, I don't think I could ever write something that long. And then when I finished this last script and I had half of it edited because I didn't have all I was already at 25 minutes long. Oh crap. I still got like more scenes to go in the script. And then I got all my lines in it, finished. It ended up being like a 45-minute episode. I was like, awesome.
I understand now. I get it now. Yeah.
It can be hard unless you're doing like a really small story where it's just one or two characters. It becomes challenging when I write to feel like I've satisfactorily written an episode, like where you know that everything came together well. There's a beginning and ending, everything resolved really well. And I find like a 50-minute episode works better than some of the shorter ones. I never felt satisfied doing the smaller ones.
Yeah. Well, there's like, so one of the first ever audio dramas I got into on the podcast was the Black Tapes podcast.
Yes.
And
Black Tapes is good.
Oh, it's so good. But we listen to them all the time on, like, I'll start them over, and but like in my head I thought the episodes were longer, 30-minute episodes. And but I'm like, surely they're longer than that. But they're not. They're just so captivating you don't realize how short they are at the same time.
Yeah.
But I totally agree though too, because like when I'm writing the narration or like when I'm writing the conversation between two characters, like I know where I want to get, but at the same time I don't want to like kind of start it and then just end there, because you miss so much development in the characters, you miss so much emotion
Yep.
in what you're trying to say. And then also I have to go, okay, well I can't go too far and too long in the singing conversation. Like the last episode, there's a whole, I'd say 15 minutes where it's just Bishop, the main antagonist, and Bryan, the main protagonist, having a conversation. But it's so in depth. I was like, I can't cut any of this because it's really building you to either love or hate the bad guy, you know. So it's kind of where I was at.
Yeah, there are moments like when you're writing where you get to a point where it's the small scenes where you feel like you're looking into the window of a world, and it's two people in front of a campfire just having the kind of conversation that friends would have. Or like in our show when Chad is telling Susie a bedtime story. I love writing those scenes, and they're so simple yet they're so satisfying.
Right. Yeah, it's you can get immersed in it, especially when you love it. Like when I feel like I know these characters, and like only 3 of them exist in game because I created them, like, right? And so, but and I've created their builds and things like that. But I feel like I am these characters, and that's kind of why, like, so like my main character Bryan, obviously I voice him, but my main antagonist Bishop, I voice him as well, because I like that dynamic, that whole I am myself. So I'm
Yeah, like me and Betty Bot.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
We're not really the same person.
Of course
But
not.
Wait
I'm
a second,
pitting-
Tom. Wait a second. Hold up a minute. Wait a minute. Revelations.
Revelations take.
I'm just a chip plugged into his head.
Well, yeah. So
Betty Butt. But yeah, I'm pitting the best part of myself against the worst part of myself. Do you know what I'm saying? So like I can pull out, I pull out like who I want to be, and then I can pull out who I don't want to be, and then I can write that character.
yeah,
That's an interesting duality from a psychology standpoint. Like there are aspects of some of our characters that are very much me. So it's kind of fun to write those in, even though they're parts of yourself that are they're quiet and inside and may not be evident. It's these sarcastic voices or these inner monologues that you have that you can pour into a character and make real in the world. So they kind of speak stuff that you wouldn't normally say, like Bryan or
Yeah, it definitely. And Bryan's the confident guy that I feel like I can be sometimes, but the positive guy that I know I am, and always full of like optimism. And then Bishop is to where I could take everything I believe and really bastardize everything and make it like
kind of turn it on its head. Yeah. It's cool when you can totally understand the justification for the villain or an antagonist, because that makes them feel real. You know, because the antagonist is the hero in their own story, but they're of course
he has
completely
the reason,
against.
He has the reason he believes what he believes, right?
Right.
Like, and so if a story can make you feel some sort of connection to that character, to where it's not just like I completely hate that person, then you're like, okay, like take Walking Dead for instance. Negan. Negan's to me one of my favorite villains in the whole Walking Dead series because of the fact that I utterly hated him, but I loved him at the same time. Now Jeffrey Dean Morgan's an awesome actor, so that's part of the reason I love him.
Sure.
But that whole dynamic of who Negan was, where it's like he actually does want to help people and he loves like the people, but at the same time he lost his wife. He named his baseball bat after his wife, and so he has this weird obsession with protecting, you know, and just. But then on the opposite end, you got the governor in season 2 and 3, who you literally want to die from the beginning. Like you hate his guts. You have no connection to him whatsoever. You know, and that's not what I want. I want to develop these characters to where people love them. You know, like people feel for them whenever they, like if he was to die, why don't you kill him? You know, so.
Right. Yeah. A solid justification is very important for a villain. For anybody who hasn't checked out your show, can you give a kind of a synopsis? Like, obviously you don't want to spoil anything, but what is your show like, and how does it stand out from any of the other Fallout content out there? What would you say?
So the Omega broadcast takes place 26 years after, And Brian Burton is a young man who got in a place in Vault 76 that a lot of people get because he was only 10 years old, and the majority of people in 76 were the best of the best, right? Like the top of and so he emerges from the vault 26 years after, so he'd be 36 years old, and or 35 when he emerged from the vault. But this is a whole year after you find the inoculation and everything. And his whole concept and mindset was, I want to rebuild. You know, I knew the world as a kid, and I'm going into this world with a whole new mindset. And so he goes in and wants to build a settlement. And that's the whole concept of naming it Omega, because it's the last place at the end of the world, you know. And so he builds Omega and wants to just have a place for people to reestablish, kind of a more like how, I don't know if anybody's beat Wastelanders yet, so I don't want spoilers away, but the overseer, her whole concept, you know, we can rebuild society, you know, use the gold, all that stuff. And it's kind of along that mindset. He has that mindset, but at the same time, he understands the reality of the world he's in now. It's adapting one, so he's never going to live in a world where there's no mutants. There's no, like, the scorpions aren't this big, they're the size of a car now, you know.
Right.
So he's understanding that, and so it's like, how do I rebuild and establish, but also adapting to the culture now, you know. And so he establishes this settlement and hacks into a radio broadcast, finds the radio, and starts to just put himself out there. And then, not too many spoilers, but he in the midst of him broadcasting, comes across some things that he thought his parents to be dead, his mom to be dead, because she gave up her place in Vault 76 for him. And he comes across some holotapes that he sees that were left 6 years after bombs fell. So obviously, in his mind, maybe she's out there somewhere. And so his mission at the moment is, okay, let's try to find my mom. And so while he's rebuilding this settlement and meeting all these people, he's also trying to find his mom. So
Nice. Yeah, and the tone is it's very well produced. There's a lot of ambient sounds. The dialogue is very interesting. It starts out you'll start on the first episode. Hopefully, I recommend start at the beginning, and it's got this very somber kind of gravitas to it. It has a lot of like, it feels like it's being recorded at nighttime, even if it isn't, like that kind of thing, which I really enjoy, that kind of mood and setting. And then, of course, it grows from there. So, yeah. So very, very cool. I think we're hitting kind of the end of the episode. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we get going?
No, we've got episode is done, the script wise. And so the cast are getting their to me. And so that should be out within the next week or two. And it'll be another long episode, but this will be a pretty action-packed and action-filled episode. So that's exciting. So to that, there is one thing in the last episode. I commissioned a song from my cousin, who's an amazing singer-songwriter. It's called "Where You Belong." Yeah, it's amazing,
really, really good.
And he, you guys can post the link if you want to. It's on iTunes now, so he put it out there for anybody who wants to just listen to the song. Yeah. But I wanted a lullaby to kind of fit the atmosphere and the dynamic of the show that Brian's mom would have sang to him when he was young, and that he holds on to forever. And it becomes a very pivotal in that last episode. And so it's out now. So it's his name's Isaac Wingo, and the song is "Where You Belong." So if you guys want to try and find that, it's really, really cool. So
very, very cool. Awesome. Yeah, go check out the show. I think you guys will enjoy it. How can people get a hold of you if they want to just reach out and kind of talk about Fallout stuff and making podcasts and those kinds of things?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter. It's the Omega Broadcasts on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. It's the Bear Cycle Show on Instagram, and on YouTube, it's the Bear Cycle Show as well. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us again. It's always nice talking to you. I've been excited that you've been on the network for a while, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who haven't, they've been binging certain podcasts and haven't had a chance to check out other podcasts. So it's kind of nice to, just get you out there and see if more people will, latch on, give your show a listen.
Yeah, if you want, we can
other guys.
We can add episode 1 after this in the podcast feed. With a link to your show if you want to give people a taste
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I think I know when I added it to the Chad feed, there was like 1,400 people who listened through it to the end, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I can put the first episode on if you want.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
That'd be really, really cool.
Cool.
We can make
Ken,
magic happen any day.
Magic happen. The magic of Fallout.
The magic
Dun,
of
dun, dun. So, guys, do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up? Ken, you got anything else going on?
He should explain what the Bear Cycle show is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So the Bear Cycle Show is a YouTube channel. I didn't really like the name has no meaning whatsoever. Other than the
People
fact
ask me that all the time. They're like, "What the heck is Brian's channel?" I mean, I don't know.
It's a bear on a cycle.
So I have a side business. My wife and I are graphic designers. And so I was just messing around with like a cool design, and I had a bear on a bicycle. I was like, I like the way this looks. I was like, how can I make this work? And so my show used to be called Breezy Gamer Dad. And I was in town, and so I got a lot of high school kids because I sub at schools as well.
Mhm.
And I was in town. One of them was like, "Breezy Gamer Dad, what's up?" Like, I don't want people to be hollering,
Oh, yeah,
that at me,
Like, yo, what up, Breezy Gamer Dad?
Yeah, I was like, what? So I changed it to the Bear Cycle Show, and actually, it was more video game.
Bear
focused.
cycle.
Bear Cycle Dad.
It does happen sometimes, but
That's awesome.
like it was more video game focused. So I was like, okay, all gaming, right? And then I started making cinema trailers. So I made one that takes place. It's called Drafted, and so I had this idea of designing this machinima story of this guy who has an injury in baseball, and so I was mixing MLB The Show gameplay with GTA gameplay footage, like because you can do like the Rockstar editor. So I had that going, and I was like, all right, this takes too long. I'm just gonna make it. People just like it, so I was like, I'm not going into non-video machinima. Like, just let people listen to what I'm trying to tell. It's so much easier than making video stuff. And then I made another one for Red Dead Redemption 2 when it came out. Made like a short machinima trailer. But I was like, most of my views and most of my viewership and stuff is coming from my Fallout stuff. So I was like, let's just be Fallout geared. And so I added the vault behind the bear on the bicycle. Maybe that'll capture people's attention.
Oh man!
But I plan on
capture a Yao Guai and stick it on a bicycle.
Too good bear.
I plan on doing because I have a Twitch channel as well for the Bear Cycle Show, and so when I live stream, it live streams on Twitch and YouTube. And so I plan on doing just like a side, not like probably like a monthly podcast where I'm gonna feature community stuff from Fallout, like on the Bear Cycle Show, just kind of like host a little thing and just have different people within the community just kind of just talk about why they love Fallout, kind of whole thing, kind of like what you guys do, but in like featuring just the less Fallout news, maybe talk about some stuff, and but at the same time just feature the community. So
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Ken, anything else you wanted to talk about
No, sir.
before we wrap up? Dave, you got anything else going on?
I've done my questions. Bryan has survived the gauntlet of questions that we've all had. Pretty pleased with that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you guys know how to get a hold of us. You know where to reach out at the Fallout Hub. You can come tune in regularly on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/the Fallout Hub. And of course, if you want to check out any of the other things that the three of us are doing, then robotsradio.net. There's the Robots Radio Discord. There's lots of places you can plug in and check out that stuff. And I think that's about it for today's episode, guys.
It is.
That's all we got going on. Thanks for coming and joining us, Bear Cycle Bryan.
Yeah, I loved it, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always cool hearing the stories behind things and all that stuff. So tks so much for sharing.
All
right, guys.
You know who we missed? We missed today. We missed Danny DeVito. I wonder where he is.
Oh yeah, Danny DeVito. What happened to him?
Oh, Lord.
He's probably in the puppets now, or has a small bear that may tell jokes.
Danny DeVito.
I think sounds like a hobby.
Grandma Ken reading the next rage letters about patch 22.
I thought you established it was Fozzie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't establish it. He just shows up and he does the show.
Just takes over.
He just takes it
I'm
over.
just like a librarian at this point. Whatever's in
That's
the library just happens to be there. Dewey Decimal that shit and call it a day.
That's how it goes.
That's-
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, until next time, stay safe in the wasteland, and we'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
See ya.